tackle this guy again. Hello and welcome to another episode of With Enough Prep Time. I'm your host, the Nerd Man, and today I'm going old school style on it. Me and Phil Pickle just battling it out, or possibly agreeing, we don't know, on a super hot take that I have for the week. We will be doing, of course, Philosophical Pickles hot take later on just after this. Where he will be on his channel and give me his own hot take for the week. How you doing, buddy?
Man, you know what? I'm good. Happy to be alive. And just like this sun is beating down on me right now, I'm excited to beat down on you. What's your hot take?
You want to see the hot take?
No. Let's let it simmer for a second. Let's fuck around for a second. What's up, man?
No, I'm cool,
how have you been?
Yeah, I'm good. We were talking about Suicide Squad, which you saw the trailer of.
Yes.
But there's apparently a mystery trailer. So, guys, if you know this trailer, there was trailer 3 where the one where John Cena basically says it's a starfish a butthole or whatever. There's that trailer, and apparently there's another trailer, according to Philosophical Pickle, that I haven't seen, a mystery trailer. So if you guys know it, like, do send me the link to it, because I've been trying to find it.
It was the trailer that was officially released like a couple hours before the Kryptonite Bullet one. And I was telling Nerdman off screen that it's just like they clearly couldn't get Will Smith, so they just literally replaced him with Bloodsport or Bloodsport. I don't know, but it's another black guy with a daughter who's a sharpshooter. Like, it would have been, they couldn't get Will Smith, couldn't get Deadshot, so they just replaced him with this guy. Like, it would have been much more believable if Deadshot had landed a shot on Superman with a kryptonite bullet. But Bloodsport, I don't care. And that trailer,
yeah. They've clearly just made his story into Will Smith's story, whatever. Dude. Will Smith. And it does not make sense. I'm sorry. Superman, like in Man of Steel, it couldn't have happened because nobody knew about kryptonite. In BVS, he gets killed. He then gets resurrected. And then he goes into Justice League like straight away. So when did this happen? Does this film happen way after the events of Justice League and they've shot Superman since then and you're just going to gloss over? It's weird, dude. Nerds versus Phil Pickle.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. It's not always a versus. It depends. But like,
I'm trying to think, how many times have we've only agreed one time. This is episode 13. We've agreed once. Yeah. So the odds are we won't agree. But it could happen.
We'll see.
I mean, the DCU has made 1 or 2 good movies, so, you know, crazy shit does happen.
Exactly. Insane stuff. So, all right. Should we call it out? Let's just call it out.
Whenever you want to do it, I'm excited for your hot take.
All right. This is a very specific one, though, guys. So you're going to have to bear with me on this. So here's, why do they, like, let me get this properly. Oh, here we go. Scroll. So Sarah Connor is not a strong female lead done well. And the Mary Sue argument is bullshit. So I'm going to read that again. Sarah Connor is not a strong female lead done well, and the Mary Sue argument is bullshit.
So it's two different statements.
Connected to each other. Because the reason that it's connected to each other is because Sarah Connor is what is often used by certain segments of people, usually on YouTube, to be fair, but like on other sites, that will say, oh, you know, Captain Marvel is like a Mary Sue, or Ray is like a Mary Sue, because they're these characters that are just like super powerful and put down the men, and you know, they basically, you know, we'll get into the kind of Mary Sue arguments a bit later, but you know, the general kind of thing. And they always refer to Sarah Connor as a character that somehow is, you know, the way like female heroines should be done properly, right? Like she's a good example of a strong female independent hero. You know, and in some ways there's aspects of that I agree with. But as a character in general, to me, Sarah Connor is quite a weak female character. She's a great character, but as opposed to, as when you're talking about her as a heroine, as the lead of the story, I have some major issues with Sarah Connor and the way people perceive her, right? And then there's the stuff about the Mary Sue argument, where I've got a few things that I have a problem with that. So I'll start off with the Sarah Connor stuff. Now, I presume you're a big fan of the Terminator franchise, or at least...
I am not.
You aren't? Have you seen them?
I've only seen Terminator once, and I've only seen T2 like in pieces, and I've only seen it through once years ago, and I've seen pieces of it. I haven't watched it as a fully fledged adult. No, I haven't.
Wow. Okay, this is going to be difficult.
No, but I know I've seen it enough to know that you're wrong, though.
Oh, you've seen it enough to know that I'm wrong. All right, that
maybe
helps.
I don't know. I think she's okay. I don't completely disagree with you. The Mary Sue, though, I'm going to get you on.
Oh, okay, good. Something. All right. So let me start with just saying this. The first thing about her that is really obvious is that I don't understand why people use her as a kind of corrective for somebody like, you know, again, Captain Marvel, Rey, any of those characters, when basically her whole thing is that she can't kill these Terminators. She's constantly on the run. In the first movie, she's basically a horror movie, and this is great. I love her for it. It's not like I dislike Sarah Connor. But in the first movie, it's basically a horror movie matched with a sci-fi, right?
Yeah.
And she is your typical horror movie lead heroine who is constantly on the run from the monster. It could be, you know, you could swap it for Freddy Krueger or for Michael Myers or any of the main horror characters. That's what Arnold Schwarzenegger plays in that movie, and she is the young, virtuous female. I mean, it even has the tropes of like the female, the woman who has sex in the first movie, like is the one who gets killed. Like she's the friend of Sarah Connor, who's a little bit more loose, a little bit more slutty. And obviously in horror movies, we know those are the women that usually get punished, right? They're the more sexually the word is I'm losing the word, but like like the more sexually active, right? They're the ones who usually
promiscuous.
So they're promiscuous. There we go. That was what I was looking for. So she's basically that character, the virtuous, pure character that essentially is on the run from the Terminator, and she always needs Kyle to basically save her. Right until the end, where yes, she does actually end up being the one who finally kills the Terminator, but with a huge assist, right? And then, of course, in 2, Arnold Schwarzenegger comes back as the good Terminator, and she relies on the good Terminator to be the one who, in the end, is mostly doing the fighting with this lethal Terminator who would absolutely kill her in seconds without the assistance of Arnold Schwarzenegger. So again, she's completely reliant on these male figures to be able to even function within this world. Yeah, she looks badass when she's shooting her guns and doing all the things that she does, like, in T2. She does look pretty badass, but let's face it, it's pretty ineffective what she's doing in comparison with what Arnie's doing. Arnie's the main guy, right? Again, fantastic character, completely makes sense to the story, but as a corrective or like an example of a strong female heroine, absolutely not. Like you can't say Mary Sue's 100% real.
We'll get to it.
7, 8, Arya Stark, Captain Marvel, Rey from Star Wars. Okay, well, I'm really curious to pick this argument. Hey man, please join. Enzo man, you can join in on this. Yellow, you're more than welcome to join in on this as well, man. I've sent, I think, both of you the links. So let me.
Maybe they just don't like us.
Maybe.
Hi guys. So, so everything. Let me go here.
Okay.
You little spiel about her. You've convinced me that she is a good character. Because isn't that the reason why she's so compelling in the first movie? Is because she feels like the average mom, the average person. Like that's the reason that movie works, is because you feel like you are her, constantly running from this machine that wants to kill her son. She's not like this badass heroine in the first movie, but in the second movie, she holds her own. I mean, she shoots the gun, she hits like in the factory. I mean, yeah, she can't kill him, but she's like hitting him with fucking poles and shit and saving her son and shooting grenade launchers and shit. And like she's not overly sexualized. Well, in the second one,
I don't think she is. I don't think she is.
There's like one scene. There's one scene where she's kind of like she doesn't have a shirt on and she's sweaty, but mostly she's not. She's the average woman.
Her strength, to be honest.
So
power.
I'm saying if you could maybe say there was one kind of scene, but I don't think she's very sexualized. She's not sexualized. She's not overpowered. She feels like a regular person, and that's why she's so compelling. That's why people like what's the chick from Halloween, Laurie?
Laurie.
Halloween sucks. I don't watch stupid movies. Laurie, but she's even better than Laurie because Laurie literally just runs around and screams and occasionally slashes him. Like she saves her son. She's part of it. I don't know if she is like badass, but I think she's a good character. She's compelling because she is us. Like we'll get to Rey. Like she's not like Rey. She doesn't flip around and do backflips and have her fucking huge breasts out and like pose. Like she's just like, let's get the fuck out of here. And you believe her. Her acting is so good. You don't see many women in movies who like aren't over sexualized and like over badass. Like they aren't doing flips like Black Widow. She's a normal person, and that's why she's great.
Well, let me make this very, very clear. Like I think she's a wonderful character. My issue is taking her and using her as some kind of corrective when really what you would want is women, right? Like the kind of characters that they should be using as examples against characters like Rey or Captain Marvel are actual women who are at the center of their own story, right? First of all, and that women who can hold their own and are strong, right? But they're not just like they don't just gain strength out of nowhere, and they do actually have to struggle, right? I don't mind that she struggles, but the fact is she's so ineffective on her own that she's so reliant, she's so deferential to the men in her universe, particularly Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator, and then in the first movie Kyle, that essentially, you could say that she's kind of a damsel in distress. Like really, she's a slightly more badass damsel in distress is really kind of like what it all boils down to. And then you made some really good points about like she isn't fantastic, but the problem with is especially in the second movie, right? If you're talking about a great female character that, I think they can come in all kinds, there could be manifold types of great female or a plethora of types of great female characters. They don't have to be one way or another. But I would say this, that nothing specifically about her being a woman makes her effective in the situation. right? Nothing, all her strength, all the things that make her a strong character are typically masculine characteristics, right? All the things that make her be, in the second movie, that make her be able to survive, that make her be able to, she's shooting guns, she's doing the muscle thing, she's like,
breaking out of prison and stabbing people with needles.
Basically like a commando, and there's a lot of kind of a masculine energy to Sarah Connor in the second movie. She's not the most feminine character. Now, I want to compare that to another movie which you might not know that well, but Silence of the Lambs, Clarice Starling, right?
I've never seen it.
Unfortunately, you've never seen it, but I'll have to. I'm going to give
guys. If it's not the MCU, I don't watch it.
If it's not the MCU, don't watch it. But Nerdman and Pickle, what's good, man? Tony Robson,
what's up?
Yeah, the thing about the Clarice Starling that makes her so compelling as a feminine heroine and as a feminist heroine is specifically because she's a woman. That's what makes her good at her job. You look at certain scenes in that movie where she's discussing with her captain, like she goes to an autopsy scene, and the men are kind of trying to be gentlemanly and trying to say, like, maybe this is too disturbing a scene for her to see. And you see how she interacts with the men in that. She's precisely like she uses her femininity, but in a way that is grateful, but actually makes them respect her as well, in these scenes. It's kind of hard because you haven't actually seen.
I know what you mean.
But then also just in terms of her characteristics in general, right? She's understanding, she's listening, she's somebody who is thoughtful. She's not aggressive, but she's she's always listening and thinking and questioning things, but again in a way that doesn't strike you as aggressive. It's just much more measured, so that you see that it's the feminine qualities in her that allows her to be such a great investigator, that allows her to solve these mysteries and to even interact with Hannibal Lecter in the way that she does. It very highlighted specifically her femininity in the scenes of the interview between her and Hannibal Lecter, and how she navigates that as a woman and as a strong woman allows her to gain Hannibal Lecter's respect and opens him up to her, right? So again, that for me is a character where you're like, yes, not only is this a good character, but this is a good female character who's doing this job so well precisely because she's female, not in spite of being female. Whereas I feel that with Sarah Connor, you could argue that she's anything that she is good at, like in terms of like escaping or evading these Terminators, is not because precisely she's a woman. It might be just just that men have trained her to be good and strong in these in particular ways, and she's just adopted their methods.
Okay.
Okay.
I gotta address two things there.
Yep.
Like, I don't understand why. I don't think a good female character has to have feminine qualities. Like, I get what you're saying. Like, she's specifically using her femininity, but like, we don't see that a lot. I think a strong female character, when people say that, they mean a character who's great, who's a female. I don't think it matters if they use their sexuality or use their politeness or their patience. I think she's even better because you didn't expect that from her. Because she's a woman, you don't expect her to kick ass, especially back in the 80s and the 90s. Usually women were fodder in movies, and they were there. You just look at their tits and their ass, and they put makeup on. No, she was sweating. She was grimy. It was different. Ripley did it first. Ripley is the better one. She is the prototypical badass female character.
I was going to compare her to Ripley later.
She's not as good as Ripley because Ripley didn't need Arnie. Ripley just needed herself.
Right. resourceful.
like
and,
I think
yeah.
that Ripley was the trailblazer for it, but you didn't see it a lot. You rarely ever saw it. You saw it once every 10 years. And like that's why she's so good, because you didn't expect it to be from her. I don't think that they intrinsically need to be feminine to make them a strong character. I don't think when people say a strong female character, they literally mean a woman who is strong. Like just their character is strong. They just so happen to be a woman. Like I don't want you to focus on the woman part of it. Just make her kick ass.
Oh,
Make it believable. Don't make her jump off fucking houses and do rolls and hit people with her. What was that movie? Where Charlize Theron is like a she's the assassin. Like she hits people with her stiletto, and like she's out overpowering these like 300-pound goons like 2 at a time. It's unbelievable. Like she's not doing anything like that. She's in the realm of what she can do. She's running away. She's stalling him. She's shooting him. She's hitting him with a pole. Like you believe that she might die. Like I don't think she's like Ripley, like fucking that badass. But because she is a regular person and because she's a woman, that doesn't matter. She's just a good character. She just so happens to be a woman. It actually lends to her character more that you don't expect her to be a woman and be that badass. And I wouldn't even say she's badass. She's just good.
I wish Lantern. Let's get Lantern into this conversation.
I wish I had seen Terminator more so I could get into more details. But from what I've seen, I think you're a bit off.
First, how's the
robe? Oh wow, how's what?
It's a new robe here. How we feel?
Oh man, it's you look relaxed. You look like
it's got pockets. That's an upgrade.
You look like the dealer that I used to have when I was like 16 for weed. He had like drums. And like always had like like this it's cool, man. It's Switch, man. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing
good.
Great. Just had some chicken wings. All right.
Got a full belly and a full mind.
Full and hard ass.
Lantern, please, can you help me destroy this man?
All right, look. What are we talking about?
We're talking about Sarah Connor. I didn't want to make it into like Sarah Connor is not a great feminist.
Oh, fuck.
Was that wasp?
Oh, shit. I'm sorry. Continue. Let me mute myself. Let me get my hornet spray.
Film Elitist, if you have something to say on this, please come in. I'm going to send you a link. I'm going to send you the link, Film Elitist, if you have something to say. Me, if I want to simplify it, I don't think she's a great actor make out and good reasons for specifically particular discussion. I wanted to talk about it in relation to that has been talked about with certain characters like Captain Marvel and I don't know, Rey from Star Wars, these characters. So Sarah Connor is supposed to be somebody that they often go to as like a good example of a strong, like independent, I suppose, female character done right. And my point is this: Sarah Connor, one, she relies on, men. She's constantly deferring to men to save her. She is, to some extent, a glorified. A glorified damsel in distress, right? What's always okay? Go on.
Nerdman. That's the first movie. That's the first movie you're talking about. The second movie, she's fully locked and loaded, ready to kill some motherfuckers. You know, she breaks out of mental asylum and everything. You know, I think you picked the wrong horse on this one. This is not.
No,
she's much stronger than some other females in movies.
Get him, Lantern.
For sure, man. I agree with what Phil Elias was saying. Mental health and single motherhood. I think that's all personified in her character. I don't know what you get. Like, what do you think she is, Nerdman? Do you think she's not strong? Do you think she's like what? What do you think she is?
Here's my thing with Sarah. I love her as a character. She's Terminator is one of my favorite movies. Terminator 2 and 1. But in Terminator 1, obviously it's like a horror movie where, you know, the Terminator is, you know, he's basically, you know, Freddy Krueger or he's Michael Myers, and he's just after her, and she's basically the pure, almost virgin kind of pure spirit woman who, like, you know, because of virtuousness is gonna escape the monster or whatever. So that's like the first movie. And then she's got Kyle, who is the hero who is essentially saving her and doing most of the heavy lifting when it comes to fighting the Terminator. Second movie, it's Terminator 2, right? And these are our two best movies, so I think they're the two movies that really count. Everything out of that, apart from maybe the Sarah Connor Chronicles, it doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah,
the Terminator
I don't care about
2,
the other movies either. Yeah,
it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger comes in. He's the one who's essentially, fighting off the what is it, the T-1000, right?
T-1000,
So the T-1000 can't do, you know, anything like the T-1000 would have killed her in a minute if it wasn't for that other Terminator. So again, in terms of her role as being the independent person who resolves the issue at hand in the film, she is not even close to being I would prop up as the example of a strong female character. And in some ways, as I said, even in that movie, as badass as she may seem, most of the time she's a damsel in distress. She's somebody that Arnold Schwarzenegger's T2 is saving. Right? He's saving her. He's saving the boy. You know, she's doing what she can, but she's just completely out of her element when it comes to.
Well, I think you need to remind me on the first movie, who kills the Terminator in the first movie.
So she kills the Terminator in the first movie, but like with
and
a
that's the movie where she least
a huge assist,
like powerful,
mic drop,
with a huge assist, with a huge assist.
But she didn't know anything. She's like, you know, fish out of water in that situation. She still kills that Terminator. You know what I'm saying? And in the second movie, she's all gun ho, and she's fully locked and loaded here. She's prepped, and she's ready to take the fight to him.
She's prepped, and she's
what
ready.
What more do you want? You want her to like cut his head off, or like it's tough to do.
I think the movie's perfect. I wouldn't change a single thing about it. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is using her as an example to be a corrective for other characters who are the center of their story, who are the people who defeat the villain, who are the kind of female characters who are strong enough and independent enough to be to head their own kind of, you know, film franchise. To me, comparing that to Sarah Connor is like it's just it's almost like two separate genres, if you will. Right,
so
they are doing like
an exception to Ripley being compared to Sarah Connor, because I think they're like very similar.
I think I think there's similarities there, but I think Ripley is a vastly superior in the sense of being a strong female lead of a character in the film. To be honest, let's be fair. We came to see the Terminators in both movies, right? We came to love Sarah Connor. But we came to see they were the main event of those movies, right? It wasn't Sarah Connor. And then even in this sense, right, I'll go even one further, right, to show just how little she is the center of the movie. Even the reason the Terminator even comes back is not because she's the savior. It's because her son is the savior. Yeah. Yes, Film Elitist. Now we've got a debate going. All right, so we've got like a great debate going. Now, all right, how you doing? So let me finish my last point. So
no, don't let him. Nope.
Yeah, last point.
The problem with Ripley is the fact that she's a woman. That she's a woman is irrelevant until the time to reproduce.
Yeah.
But anyway, the last point I was just going to make just quickly is that
all right, go on.
the Terminator isn't even coming back to save her because she's the savior of humanity. It's to save her son. So she's going to give birth to the leader of the revolution or the resistance. She's not even going to be the leader of the revolution or resistance herself. It's this son that she's giving birth to who's the
she's the Virgin Mary.
Again, she is not the important character. So in terms of looking at her as a feminist character,
is Virgin
it's almost
Mary
like
not important? Hot takes? Is Virgin Mary not important? She only gives birth to Jesus. She's not that important at all in the story.
Yeah, but I wouldn't prop her up like she's an important part of the story, but I wouldn't prop her up as like I wouldn't prop her up as an independent female heroine who is the center and important part of the story.
I agree. She is a side character in the movies. She is a side character. The main character is John Connor, right? Like, and the Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Those are your main characters.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with that.
To be fair to Sarah Connor, though, to be absolutely fair to her, I love the movies because of her and Arnold Schwarzenegger, but probably even more primarily her. I love her in T2. So I'm not even going to say, like, I think, when watching T2, I was like, why isn't she the leader of the resistance? She's the cool one. Fuck her little son.
Damn lie.
Her little son's No, I'm not lying. Anyway, Film Elitist, man, what do you have to say about this shit? Tell me how much trash.
Can you guys carry on for like 20 more seconds? I'll be right back.
Okay, all right. Pickle, you can respond, man.
Yeah, poo-poo farting, Fast and Furious. He told me to fuck around for 20 seconds.
Real help.
Explosions, Michael Bay, poo-poo, Star Wars.
Star Wars 76. Oh my god.
All right, Film Elitist, I bought you enough time.
He
All
can't
right,
take the shit that quickly.
Are you guys still there?
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I fundamentally disagree on everything you were saying about Sarah Connor. I think that you were making an argument earlier that like she needs the Terminator to come help her, and John Connor is the real savior and all this other stuff, and she needs all these other characters to jump in. Well, she's fighting androids from the future, nerd man. She's a human.
Right.
Like, this isn't that's the problem with the Mary Sue thing, which I know you're going to get to that part later.
No, bring it in because that's like the main part I want to get into anyway. So,
but yeah, it kind of works together because it's like with Captain Marvel or season 7 and 8 Arya Stark from Game of Thrones, especially season 8, that episode where she kills the Night King.
I don't know how you can argue Arya Stark is a Mary Sue. I'm fascinated by that one because I don't know much about Rey or the other or Captain Marvel.
Season 8 Arya Stark. Because she goes from being an assassin who has somewhat realistic powers to someone that can sneak up on a supernatural creature and destroy it.
Okay.
It's so absurd how overpowered they make her just to justify the bad writing.
Wait a second. So, because this goes right into the heart of what I wanted to talk about, because the Mary Sue argument was going to be a free for all anyway. So Arya Stark is the great one. So how would
season 8?
How would Jon Snow have realistically killed Night King?
I don't have to justify that.
How would he have more realistically killed the Night King in comparison with Arya Stark?
Because he is
she's been trained.
He's one of the top 2 hand-to-hand fighters in the kingdom, and he has a blade that can kill the Night King.
Where did we get that from?
Probably
you would need help. Nobody can beat the Night King one-on. That's the point. Nobody can beat the Night King one-on-one. That's the point, and she did it.
No, it's not that simple. It's not
that simple. It's not.
It is.
But at least with Game of Thrones, they showed Arya being like trained for like a season, like in another country, like across the water, right? Like at least there was something.
Right. But it's the jump. It's the jump is what I'm saying. It's because here's the thing: in the books, that's not going to happen, right? She's not going to kill the Night King. And
No,
I know
not
that
now.
I know that the Night King doesn't technically exist in the book. Like it's a little different or whatever. Like there is a leader of the White Walkers or whatever. But the point I'm making is that's not going to happen. Those two dipshits wrote that into the story and then literally said on the commentary after the episode, they're like, well, we just wanted to surprise people. So for a season, yeah, they did show her training and stuff. But hold on, Nerdman, let me finish.
Yeah,
They-
I'm
they
just,
took her-
I'm not expressing.
I can see you seething.
I'm just going like,
They took her power level from like a 1,000 to over 9,000, right? They took her from one place to an entirely different stratosphere to justify her being able to do that, and it didn't seem realistic. It went from like, oh, I can wear other people's faces, I have this specific power, and I'm a really good assassin and kind of a warrior, to like, I'm the person that is the greatest warrior in the entire kingdom. Even
that's not
though
what it said. That's not what it said, dude. She was almost lucky to have killed the Night King, but she just used some an ability that was clearly established
Sleight of
during the
hand.
show. Like she literally had that ability from her training.
sleight of
think
hand,
she
well,
even- didn't she even do that before? She did something like
hold
that
on.
before in earlier seasons.
Hold on. She is screaming in the air as she sneaks up on him. Don't try to justify this shit to me. It's not
Nerdman,
sleight of
she-
hand.
She runs. She
Straight
runs
up,
past.
straight up
She
there.
runs past. What are they called? Fucking. What I forgot what they're called. The Ice
White
Walkers.
Yeah.
She runs past them so fast that their hair moves
Like
and
the
they look.
Flash.
Then she jumps out of the black and yells and
Mhm.
kills Nerdman. It is ridiculous. I
Like,
think
it's like
Phil Militis
something.
is off though. It's
No,
not.
no, 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 no,
That's
no,
not.
no,
That's
no,
not
no.
Mary Sue, dude. That's just terrible writing. You know that.
Yes, it is.
That's
It is Mary Sue.
theatricality. It's
That's what I'm
theatricality.
That's
saying.
It's a show.
That's Zack
let-
Snyder.
let-
That's Zack
magic in it.
Snyder
No,
thing.
but let's
She's
get to
wearing
the heart.
Mission Impossible masks.
Can
Let's
I make a
let-
point? Can I make one point real quick?
But
Let me- just to explain what a Mary Sue is, so we can establish the bounds of the
No,
argument.
that's what I want to do. That's
Let's
exactly
have it.
what I want to do here. And I
Okay.
want to just, because it's my argument, so that you know what you're arguing against, right?
Okay.
You've illustrated a really big point by choosing Arya. Like I was going to struggle with Captain Marvel and with Rey, but by choosing Arya, you've even strengthened my point, which is what it seems to me that people who use the Mary Sue argument tend to do is like when they're looking for examples of a female character who actually is strong. And this is my only problem, if any problem, with Sarah Connor, is they look for female characters who, in the end, are rather weak by themselves. That they're as if it's unrealistic for them, it's unfathomable for them to kind of think of a female character that can actually do like I guess I don't know, because maybe biologically speaking, women are
I'm going to systematically
weaker.
dismantle the argument.
Sure, do it.
Because Brienne,
that's what this show is about. That's what
Lady-
the show is about.
Lady
Okay,
Brienne
Tom.
is a fucking beast. Okay? She's a
Okay.
fucking pimp. She is a strong female character. And you know why it works?
Mhm.
It works because it's established how powerful she is, and it doesn't change rapidly to
Nothing changed
justify.
about Arya, by the way, but
Yes, it did.
This is a good argument that you're making now.
So
Go
a
ahead.
Mary Sue is just like a white knight, right?
Yep.
Like this the white. We were talking about that once on a stream before about the Great White Hope with the heavyweight boxing champions, right? Or like these Jesus Christ type figures, like the obsession with these Jesus Christ type male white figures that they put in movies that are always like there to save the day. This like savior. Like it doesn't matter that it's a woman. It's about the fact that it's a woman with powers that don't make sense just to justify it being a woman being the hero is the point. It's not about a woman being strong.
No, but it's beyond that. There seems to be a thing where people argue that it's a cynical attempt almost to put down the men around them or something like that, right? As well, there's also that kind of element of like Mary Sue argument that they're characters who almost it's just because they're female that they're just given a certain degree of strength or abilities which they don't train or earn or
that is true
anything like that. Whereas when
thing,
in comparison with go on.
The Arya Stark thing, you're proving my point. For 6 seasons, and I'm not saying it would have been realistic for Jon to kill the Night King either, but at least for 6 seasons, that's his entire fucking character arc.
Yeah.
And the writers admitted to you on tape that it wasn't about servicing the story. The reason they made Arya be the one that do it, even though she had no connection to the White Walkers or that part of the story at all,
was to be unexpected.
Right.
To do something unexpected. But that doesn't take. Look, even if the writers did do that, that doesn't necessarily. Well, it may weaken Jon Snow, whatever. But that's what you were just talking about. That doesn't necessarily mean it was the wrong thing to do. The writers may have done it for the wrong reason, but in effect,
but you were just talking about Mary Sue. About the argument that they weaken the male characters around them. I'm saying that they do, and that's a perfect point. She weakened and lessened Jon Snow's impact in the story. It's literally what it was.
Can I back you up here from elitist?
Yeah, go on.
All right. So Nerdman, I like to make equivalencies and metaphors. I love it. Yep. This would literally be like if you are watching the MCU, which I know you don't love, but you're watching it for 8-9 years. You're watching Tony and Cap and Thor and all these characters. They fight Thanos. He wipes out half of the universe. Then Captain Marvel comes in Endgame and kills him when she's never met him. People would lose their mind because that was the Avengers story. That was John's whole story. And Captain Marvel just came in and fucking killed Thanos in one punch. We'd be like, what the fuck? She didn't even know who he was. It wasn't a part of her story. That's not her journey. She was doing something completely else. She's a new character.
I don't think that's an equivalency with this
it would
story,
because that was not her story. She had never met him before, and if she killed him with one punch, we would lose our minds.
Her entire story was about getting revenge on the Lannisters, and in the end, it doesn't come to fruition. They completely juxtapose her into a different storyline, which takes away from the people that were actually connected to it. And if you want to make this argument, Daenerys had more justification to be involved in killing the Night King, and they take away from her to make Jorah look heroic.
You've got to let Lantern speak and me respond. By the way,
I was quiet for like 5 minutes.
I know. I'm not saying that.
I'll say this and I'll let Lantern go. The power that she was working for 7 seasons, she didn't use it one time in season 8. She didn't use her power of face swapping to kill him.
Talking about? The face swapping.
Arya.
Okay, right.
The power that even if she did earn that moment, she didn't even use the powers that she earned. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
They literally forgot that she could do that and just made her run really fast, jump and stab him. It was ridiculous.
Dude.
I don't know if it's Mary Sue.
I think that was one of the least ridiculous things in season 8, to be honest.
Nerdman,
we're
gonna have to make another video on that.
No. For me, did you not watch season 8, Lantern?
Yeah, I watched it. I was fine with it. There
was nothing wrong with it. I agree with you on that.
I didn't say there's nothing wrong with it. I said I was fine with it. I said I was fine.
Okay, I know that's what I meant. I don't mean there's absolutely zero wrong with it. Obviously, there were certain things wrong with it. But what I'm saying is about the Arya Stark thing. I think that was completely built up. The whole thing of the show was the mystery of who was going to take out the Night King. It wasn't just that obvious. Like that, it was definitely going to be Jon Snow, or Jon Snow was definitely going to be involved.
Well,
Wait a second. Like, let me because I just want to finish this.
I think I'm going to back you up because if they did do Jon Snow, it would have been too predictable. Everybody saw it coming. Like, what's the point of that? The whole show has been surprising you, the whole series.
Right.
Red Wedding. Did anybody see that coming? Is that what you want to happen? Did you want Rob to die right there? I don't know.
Exactly.
Did anybody see Ray's last name being revealed?
Ray's last name is I think Ray's a much closer to a Mary Sue.
We'll get there.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll get there later.
Because a Mary Sue is a character that has a bunch of unexplained power. You know what I'm saying? Just for plot convenience. Male characters can have it too. Like Luke Skywalker or something like that, or Anakin in episode 1, I guess you'd call. a Gary Stu. All right.
Right. We're gonna go. I'm gonna go on to certain things about the stew thing and how people don't ever focus on that in more recent films as well. But for now, let's just keep to. Do we want to finish this Arya argument because it's a kind of side argument? But like, I want to get to
Ray. I want to say one more thing, but then I want to get to Ray.
I think that's a
I
perfect.
think Ray's
example.
more clear cut. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He's the perfect example.
We'll go to Ray after. But like, I think that's for me, Arya is the perfect example of people calling out everything as a Mary Sue, being ultra sensitive around women being not. I'm not trying to say like it's like men are
Better
on some kind of insecurity or something that men have, or they're not comfortable with themselves or something like that. But it does seem odd to me that Arya Stark, who is trained for a whole season to be one of the greatest assassins in the known kingdoms of Game of Thrones, she's trained. She goes through all of these things near death, like kills people, being blinded to learn to fight when blind, all of that stuff. And that somebody can turn around and say to me that she's a Mary Sue because she supposedly took Jon Snow's storyline, and it was never Jon Snow's storyline. That was just something you people projected onto the show.
I'm leaving. Bye.
He muted himself.
Can I respond because
it's something you projected onto the show because the show was always about you don't know what's going to happen.
Taking my argument,
it's supposed to be a complete surprise. You don't know who's going to end up on the throne. You don't know who's going to end up killing the Night King. There was a number of different alternatives of what
I said
could
from
happen.
the beginning.
And again, the way she killed the Night King was perfectly in tune with the training that she had received in a show that is mystical. So yes, she may have moved fast and done some weird like maneuver to get into reach of the Night King, but it was perfectly in line with the training
I
that
said
she
from the
had
beginning.
received.
Season 7 and Season 8 Arya. Season 7 and Season 8. The reason I specifically pointed that out is because what a Mary Sue is this indestructible self-insertion of the ultimate female heroine that's so powerful that they're OP to the point that they can't be killed and they can defeat anyone if the writers justify it. It's not just about the Night King thing. It's about the scene when she's training with I forgot the name of that chick that was training her or whatever. But she stabs her and she's got this. She's blind and has this terrible wound and she's bleeding all over the fucking place, right? And it should have killed her. Like when you look back at it, it should have killed her. But she survives the training and becomes this badass in spite of it.
Jon Snow comes back to life.
Hold on a second.
Jon Snow is literally resurrected. You can't talk about this in relation to Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is all about that. People are always nearly dead on half on the. Look at the Hound. He should have been dead. The Hound should have been dead.
Right, and that was bad. That was bad writing. Jon Snow coming back to life.
So why does it make her a Mary Sue and not them?
Hold on a second. The Hound was bad writing. That's not going to happen in the books. Jon Snow is going to come back to life in the books, and the reason that that's going to happen is because the Red Witch did that to him. No one cast a spell on Arya's fucking infected staph infection intestinal wound when she was stabbed. Okay, and how did she survive the 7 times that show during season 8? Hold on a second. During the Siege of King's Landing, when the dragons are raining down fire, everyone around her gets scorched about 6 or 7 times, but Arya continues surviving and surviving and surviving, and every time she's just got ash on her. She's not a fucking immortal. It doesn't make sense, and you know it doesn't.
She's dodging the flames. You know what
I don't see how it.
Listen,
the fantasy show in the context of what the fantasy show had told us about what people could do.
I'm with you.
No, it's not about that.
Philosophical pickle, show yourself. Don't just show yourself, man.
Can I just respond?
I'm over here fighting wasps off, bro.
Just because it's a fantasy show. Just because it's a fantasy show doesn't mean that
I don't just mean it's a fantasy show. I mean that they had set up certain rules because it's a fantasy show.
That you can survive fire when everyone else can't?
What do you mean survive fire when everyone else can't?
Everyone in King's Landing,
Everyone in
Arya
King's
gets
Landing.
shown. They get shown on
Everyone-
screen with her. They get shown on screen with her during that fucking smash cut that they do.
You mean
It's
like
like-
she's running away from the fire at the end?
And everyone
And they-
that you see around Arya gets killed but her. She's the only survivor of the
Phil
people
Miletus,
they show on
there is
screen.
a
Because
shot.
she runs away.
No, Nerdman, there's a shot where the fire hits a building, the fucking rubble falls on everybody, including Arya, and the screen goes black. And it cuts to her and she just wakes up on top of the rubble. Film Leaders is completely right on this. Take away the Night King thing. Dude, it's not 6 or 7, it's 4 different
four.
times. You see fire engulf the screen and it cuts away. There are charred bodies beside her and she's just like looking at them. Then rubble falls on top of her. She just wakes up covered in dust. It
Dude,
happens
but do you know
4
how
times.
many characters do that? It's not an argument for her being a Mary Sue. There are so many characters in Game of Thrones who are in situations where there's no way they could have survived.
But they don't do it 4 or 5 times in one episode.
Hey, tell me this.
Wait, let me go here. Let me go here, Nerdman.
You're trying so
You
hard
guys
to
brought
reach
this to
for her being
Nerdman.
a Mary
You brought
Sue.
this upon yourself. Now you sit here and you take it because I'm about to give it to you, dude.
It's not my argument.
Not only, yes, the Hound, it was stupid. John, I don't agree with him coming back. The fucking guy who got killed 7 times.
What's the guy?
Wait, Nerdman,
with one hand dodging dragon fire into the sea, right?
It's stupid.
Dodges dragon fire. Oh, that's
Nerdman,
stupid as
let me
well.
go
Okay.
here.
Right.
It's the context of the episode. She literally dodges death. It shows her getting killed 4 times and it cuts away because it doesn't want to show you how she survives it. That's a problem with the whole season. But that's on top of the fact that an episode before that, she kills the main villain of the show that she had never heard of, never seen or met or even dealt with for 7.5 seasons.
Yes,
it wasn't her,
but she
and killed
realized
him. And then
she knew he was the target. They even set it
Nerdman.
up before. They
You've
set
never-
it up as her destiny.
You're
They
so
set
wrong.
up as her destiny.
Nope,
with
they didn't. They did not, because they switched the line. They switched the line about Destiny, about blue and brown eyes. They switched it to match
That's
her
true.
Mary Sue-ness. Film Elitist, I'm on your train now. She is a Mary Sue.
Can I ask you one question, Nerdman?
Wait, Nerdman, I froze Nerdman with my facts.
Okay, I want to ask him this question because I looked up the definition of
He's
a Mary
frozen.
Sue. I looked up the definition of a Mary Sue, and it's a young female character who is free of weaknesses. So I want him to answer me, what are Arya Stark's weaknesses? Because Daenerys has weaknesses, Arya Stark has none.
Dude, Film Elitist, remember in season, was it 6 or 7 when she's training and that chick stabs her in the
I
gut?
just talked about that a minute ago. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was fighting wasps.
yeah.
dude,
I'm
she
saying
stabs her in the gut.
literally,
And then
Yeah, I know.
survives sewage water. Like,
she
I'm
literally has no weaknesses. There's not one example.
I'm starting to get with you here. I wouldn't at first. I didn't think she was a Mary Sue, but I still wouldn't say she is.
Because
I'm
Lantern, you
I'm
watch
lying.
the show.
Her
When you
weakness is her aggression, dude. Isn't it?
But does it ever bite her? Is what I'm. Does she ever suffer the consequences? Like Daenerys has
probably not.
weaknesses, and in the end, she suffers the consequences of them. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Even though Daenerys is super powerful, way more powerful than Arya when you consider her army and her dragons and stuff.
Yeah.
Like her flaws
Yeah.
end up.
And
Like-
you didn't have a problem with her going evil, right?
I just think that they should have handled it way differently. But
Yeah.
I like the storyline. It's just it was
Yeah.
very very fucking
way too soon, way too rushed.
That's
Yeah.
just me, or is that everyone?
All right, so explain to me what are
Hey.
Wait. Just to finish what I was saying, there was a guy with green eyes, a guy with blue eyes, or whatever, and she was supposed to kill the guy with blue eyes. So that was even set up season before,
Nope.
knowing that it
Nerdman,
was
nope.
her destiny.
I'm sorry, you're wrong.
Okay, go
You're
on.
wrong.
Go on.
In the I can find the quote in like the season, whatever season she's told that in, like season 2 or 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
It switched. It's just it's like blue eyes, green eyes, and brown eyes. You're just supposed to kill men of every color eyes. Then in this episode that she kills them, they switch it to you're supposed to kill people with brown eyes, green eyes, and blue eyes. They switched the eye color to make it seem like she was always supposed to
Did
do
they
it.
say
She
blue eyes
wasn't.
first?
They
Did
forced
say
it.
blue eyes? Did they say blue eyes?
They say blue eyes last in that episode to make you think that
Okay,
she's supposed to
but
kill
did she say
blue-eyed
blue
eye
eyes
people.
before? Did she say blue eyes before?
Yes, but she was literally just saying
okay.
men
So-
of
so-
all
all right.
colored eyes.
Pickle, let me
All
get
right,
him. on
anyway,
Dude,
let's
Nerdman, I'm sorry.
we need to
You're
go on
so
to something
wrong.
else. But yeah,
Let me ask you one
wrong.
question. I have
I
to
want
ask
to
you one
vomit.
question. Because I look up the definition
Calm
of a
down, Pickle.
Mary Sue. The definition,
Okay, just for you.
the definition of a Mary Sue is a type of fictional character, usually a young woman, who is portrayed as unrealistically free of weaknesses. And like I just talked to Lantern about while you froze up, Daenerys has weaknesses, even though she's probably more powerful than Arya Stark. Explain to me, what are Arya's weaknesses, and how do they ever bite her in the ass? And if they don't, then she's a Mary Sue.
She's
And you don't-
literally nearly fucking killed. She's stabbed, and she nearly
That's not
dies
a weakness.
until like
That's
a
not a
nurse.
weakness.
That is a weakness. What do
No,
you
it's not.
mean?
No, if
What
anything,
kind of weakness
just-
do you mean? A weakness to what? Kryptonite? Does she have like Is she got Achilles' heel? What weakness are you talking about? She literally can be stabbed and killed. The fucking person who trains her beats the shit out of her for
She
several
doesn't die.
fucking
She doesn't
episodes,
die.
and she can't beat her. She literally can't beat this
Dude,
woman
you're
until the
proving
end.
my
The
point.
weakness was beat
She
out of her.
survives a stab wound because she's somehow inherently magic.
There's a lot of magic in the show.
But I'm saying when Daenerys
what do you
gets
mean
stabbed, guess what?
inherently
She dies.
magic?
When Daenerys gets stabbed through the stomach, she dies. She's the fucking
Everyone
queen,
gets stabbed.
right? But
So
Arya
many
Stark,
times in that
Arya
show.
Stark
The
lives in
Hound
the
gets
super
stabbed
ninja.
in that show. The Hound gets stabbed so many times in that show. Freaking what's his name? Bloody hell, Jon Snow, doesn't he? Like, remind me if I'm wrong, Lantern. Like, doesn't Jon Snow get like
He gets stabbed a lot. Yeah.
he gets
But-
stabbed or injured like quite a lot of times where you're
He
just
dies
like
He
when
really
he
gets
gets
stabbed to death by a bunch of people, right?
he,
Like-
he literally got stabbed to death at one point. But I'm saying
Not at
there's
the point
other
where he's
episodes-
leaking 8 liters of blood into a fucking pond.
Dude,
Mhm.
Yeah, but
Yeah, like,
you don't know. You
Nerd
realize
man.
that it's not Earth, right? You realize that it's a different fucking.
okay, I
You can't
hate
make
that
that
argument.
argument.
Oh,
no, no,
Nerd
it's
Man.
It's
not.
Earth in
No,
the
no, no,
future.
no.
It's Earth
That's
in
the weakest argument, Nerd Man.
It's not
That's
a
like
weak
saying
argument.
it's a movie about wizards and space lasers. That means that fucking
No,
gravity doesn't
no.
exist. You still have
There
to,
is
you still have to have the
rules that
laws
are
of
There's
physics.
established.
sound in space in Star Wars,
No,
which doesn't make
no.
any sense.
There are rules that are established in that show about people's ability, like their survivability, how much it would take for them to survive, right? And in that show, constantly you are seeing normal human beings survive extreme shit. Look at Jorah Mormont.
Name
Look at
3
Jorah
times.
Mormont. That disease that gets him. That should have fucking he should
Magic
have been dead, or
again,
one of the
magic,
stone.
Magic.
He should have been dead, or one of the stone men, or whatever. He should have been
Again,
turned.
magic. They explain
What do you
it.
mean
They
magic?
don't explain Arya. They explain Jon coming back from the dead. They explain
They
Jorah getting
explain
healed.
her by a nurse saving her. We know that the people in this universe, and we need to go on to, but it's an interesting conversation. But they explain that the people in this universe are clearly more resilient than human beings.
Wait, Nerd
Like
Man,
a lot
Yellow.
of these warriors,
I want
are
you.
more resilient.
I want Yellow on here now.
Yeah, I want him on here as well.
I gotta
This
go
is
though.
insane, dude.
I can only stay for a few minutes. I gotta go, guys.
Okay.
No.
That's
See you
cool.
later.
No,
I'm
no,
sure
it's okay.
Nerdman can handle this. You
Nerd-
guys will never
no,
break
Lantern.
him. You'll never break
No.
this guy. Okay,
Grandpa.
y'all have a great night. All right,
You too,
Yeah,
brother.
no, cool, man. Peace, man.
Love you,
Peace.
Grandpa.
peace out.
Yeah. No, again, look, the human beings on this show, if they are human beings, because we don't know what planet or whatever they're on, they clearly are more resilient as warriors, right, to various types of injuries than normal people. You see that over and over and over again in this show.
By
And
hardened war veterans. The Hound, Jaime, not Arya.
she is a hardened vet, like not a
She
war
had
veteran.
never had an injury
She's
before.
hardened because she's been fighting with these faceless men, or she's
That
been
is her
like being
first
trained.
time. That is her first time
Doesn't
ever being
matter.
wounded.
That is the most extreme type of training you could get in their universe. Is the faceless
Nerd
men
man.
training as to be an assassin? They are literally. She becomes much tougher, clearly by the training that she's given, and a nurse saves her. A person who is a medical whatever saves her. I
I
don't.
mean,
Look,
yeah.
I think you've got a strong argument for other characters. I don't think you've got. She was trained. She earned her abilities and skills, and then she used them to kill, the mystical bad guy at the end. There was
Dude,
a
Dick
direct
Cheney's
arc-
right. She was a child when she was stabbed. She was like 13. And then she goes on the run the next day.
But you're thinking of it in our world. That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm thinking about it in the world where when a rock falls on somebody's head, it get crushed. When the mountain throws, when he puts a sword through somebody, it cuts their head off. They still react to the physics that we do. The only time they don't is when they're a believable hardened war veteran or when magic is involved.
All right.
She was
Or
neither.
season
I
seven.
know what film
I'm
it
gonna
is.
get you. I'm gonna get you right now. Okay, so Tyrion, yeah, gets
Mhm.
sliced across the face, literally
Yeah.
slashed across
Tipped.
the face with it. Oh, that's really lucky. That was super fucking lucky of him, right? And
The
then
only
just
time it
gets
happens.
up. It's not. Well, I'm just saying, like in general, this would be.
He's not leaking 8 liters
This
of
could be
blood.
a
there,
fatal. No, I think that was a pretty. I mean,
She is
it's very
leaking
lucky.
8 liters of blood.
She
into
wasn't
the
lucky.
water.
He's right.
I-
They literally wrote her so unrealistic so that she could be alive. Plus, she goes on to kill the main villain of the show.
Dude,
She had nothing to do with, then dies 4 times in the next episode, and they show that she didn't die. But dude, fuck all this. Let's get to Ray.
Aria, let's
Because you're saying that Mary Sue's aren't real, and they absolutely are, and Gary Stu's are absolutely real.
no, I'm saying
you
the
wanna
Mary
label it
Sue
like that.
argument is. I'm saying the Mary Sue argument is bullshit because they're not consistent within their own argument. But let's hear about Ray. I haven't seen these Star Wars movies, so you can finesse me a bit on this. But the last 3, but
I'll try not to do any spoilers. So I pulled up a list because I forgot, honestly, of all the things because I remembered 5 or 6 things, but I forgot all the stuff that she did.
Hey, can I make
I'm-
something clear too, Nerdman, real
Yeah.
quick?
Yeah.
I agree with you that the inverse is also true, right? Like the Jesus Christ. This is why I don't like the Superman thing sometimes, right? This Jesus Christ type figure that when it's not done properly, when they don't level Superman out, sometimes they just make him like this god who's just unbeatable, or like
Well, to
Goku
be
in
fair,
Dragon Ball
To be
Z.
fair, I wasn't going to use that because people do complain about Superman. But
Right.
I
But I'm
I
agreeing
get
with
what
you
you
that-
mean.
I'm saying that I can be logically consistent that yes, they do it with male characters too, and I don't like it when they do
Yes.
that either.
But they don't make a big deal out of it with.
I hate
characters,
it.
apart from Superman. But let's try and find out what your argument is for the female characters, so that I can, because I don't know with Ray. Ray is going to be hard for me to argue against because I can't compare it like to what Luke has done, or what any other character in that universe has done because I just don't know that universe enough. But I want to hear why you think Ray, and then maybe you can do a little bit with Captain Marvel because I know more about her.
Yeah.
But
I just want to make the point too. I'll let Pickle go, but I just want to make the point too that it doesn't seem like a coincidence to me that just like with Arya Stark, that Kevin Feige with Captain Marvel and Kathleen Kennedy, who runs Disney's Star Wars part, that both of them made comments very similar to the writers that did that whole arc with Arya for Game of Thrones about how they wanted to use these characters, and it turned out very similarly to me, in my opinion. So
I don't remember them, the writers of Game of Thrones, being like, "Oh, we don't need a white man," like explaining or do. I don't think they've used this.
Yeah,
I think
don't
that's more Kathleen Kennedy. I honestly think that people have a little bit of a point with Captain Marvel and from what I've heard of Ray, I think they have a point with that, but I honestly can't see Arya Stark. And I don't want to keep on going into it, but I think her story, for what it is consistent, and a lot of other characters are like either OP or at least extremely resilient in Game of Thrones. I mean,
I wish we had more time.
Jamie Lannister, it's Jamie Lannister, was on death's door when he was just before he went up to the
I swear to God, this
he
is the last thing
literally
I'm gonna
been
think about it.
stabbed. He'd been stabbed so many times
I'm
by
just gonna say this,
Euron Greyjoy.
He was about to
should have
die.
been dead.
Well,
And
yeah.
then he
Nerdman,
walks,
Nerdman.
and he still
I
gets up
agree
to the
with you.
queen.
In general, in season 7, 8, they went ridiculous with the unrealistic. This is the last thing I'm going to say about it. The reason that Arya Stark is a Mary Sue and the reason it pisses me off is because Brienne and Daenerys and characters that deserved it got swept under the rug to make her into a badass in spite
No.
of servicing the story.
Sorry, who got swept under the rug?
Lady Brienne and Daenerys, their characters got diminished.
Lady Brienne was badass in the last battle. She did a lot in the last battle, and
Dude.
Lady Brienne,
Let's not go
Brienne.
into
I'm
this.
sorry. Like, look, yeah, you're right. By the Jon Snow doesn't deserve shit. He was a boring fucking character. who
I
was
never said he
overrated
did,
first,
but at least it would have made sense.
and I would have preferred Arya beating him because Arya was at least cool. So
let me explain.
Oh my God.
Let me explain
Arya was a cool character in comparison with fucking Jon Snow. I'm sorry, I enjoyed Arya for the most part.
I liked Arya.
Let's go. Yeah, I liked her a
So
lot.
Ray,
So go on, let's talk about Ray and
Ray.
I thought I was going.
Oh yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead.
I mean, you can go. I have a list here, and then you can piggyback off of it. Okay.
Okay, so you can just we can.
I'm just gonna
bounce back
simply
and forth.
read. These are facts, Nerdman. You'll see it when you watch the movies. You need to watch the movie so we can do that stream. These are simple facts about Ray that happen in the movie, and I'm hard pressed to find any. Literally, I'm not one of these people who are like, oh, if a woman's badass, she's a Mary Sue. I don't ever use that term Mary Sue, but I've been convinced Ray is 100% one. I can't find a flaw in her. So in the first movie, Nerdman, when you meet her, her first scene, she's like chilling, eating a fucking muffin, and then she beats up 4 guys with a stick. Okay, that's fine. Then they find the Millennium Falcon, and she literally flies it with no piloting experience, and she defeats.
Solo could do.
She does maneuvers and flips and defeats fucking professional TIE fighter fighters. Then what does she do? She tells Han, she fixes a part of the Millennium Falcon, and Han literally goes, "How'd you do that?" And she explains to him how she fixed it. Then she gets captured by Kylo Ren with no training. In about 4 minutes, she uses the Jedi mind trick on him, which is something that it takes years to master. Then she literally picks up a lightsaber.
Yellow, if you're about to, I'm sorry, I gotta say, if Yellow is gonna try to defend Ray, he needs to jump on here because it's gonna give me a heart attack.
No, I would love for Yellow. I would love if you come. I know he might not be able
to do it. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
he might not be able to.
God,
But Yellow, she had never actually flown a ship, and then she fixes something on Han. And the Millennium Falcon is different than any like Han says it's different than any ship in the galaxy. So she's never even touched a ship like that shape with those controls. And then Finn literally says, "How did you do that?" She goes, "I don't know. It was just the Force." Literally every single thing that she does, Nerdman, you'll find out is explained with the Force. Luke is not like that. Then the first time she ever picks up a lightsaber, she defeats Kylo Ren. The first time she ever picks up a lightsaber.
Roof right now, dude.
No one has flown. Yellow, if you got into the cockpit of a fucking jet right now, could you fly it? And could you beat?
Get through all of this stuff,
could you beat professional Air Force fighter pilots right now? No way. It's the Force. Dude, Kylo Ren is known as one of the most powerful fighters and lightsaber.
He's Darth Vader's
ever.
grandson.
And she beats him the first time she ever meets him.
Darth Vader's grandson.
She fucking they choose her to fucking go find Luke when they've barely known her. Chewie hugs her instead of Leia when Han dies. I'll let Film Leaders go, but those are the things in just the first movie that she does. And then in the third movie, it's ridiculous. She's a non-character. She's a robot who does literally everything she does, she's good at because of the Force. It is the definition of a Mary Sue. Sorry.
She has never even picked up a lightsaber. In the first trilogy, Luke goes through 2 movies of training. And with Yoda, who's one of the greatest of all time, right? The OG who's lived thousands of years and is a Jedi master, wrote the fucking book on the Jedi wisdom. He gets this training from Yoda for an entire movie. And then by the second movie, even then it's not enough. He gets his hand chopped off because he's not ready, right? After all that training. Rey in the first movie is fighting Darth Vader's grandson and has never even swung a lightsaber before. Picks it up, and because of the Force, she's able to whip his ass. Now, she doesn't like stomp him into the ground, but she soundly defeats him. Okay, that is so absurd. It's beyond the pale. Anyone that defends that, I'm sorry. I respect everyone's right to an opinion, but there is a point where you have to suspend reality, and the cognitive dissonance has to be so insane to justify something like that. And that's
So
the
what,
problem.
what do you think? What do you think is the reason for doing this? What is it, like an agenda to just make a woman unrealistically powerful because they just want powerful female heroes, or do you think it's that they're just bad? They're just bad at writing.
I think they wanted a.
What motivates this for you?
Okay, like Anakin Skywalker in the prequels, which are horrible movies. He's like a Jesus Christ type figure.
He's the
right?
same thing.
He's the same thing, and it's bad then too. But the point is that they wanted the same thing with a woman. But they didn't care. Like you said, they didn't care to actually write a story that serviced it. That it's just laziness.
So
just like
you're saying that if she had training.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say she went through a montage of training, you'd be
like
okay
if that
with
battle
everything.
happened if that battle
wait, Phil Militas, let me finish. Like, sorry, she does her training for a montage, and I want you to answer this question. She does a training for a montage. It's a 5-minute montage in the movie, like with Luke Skywalker or something, right? Does everything she proceeds to do in the movie is that validates it?
Nope. Because I just told you that in the first 3 movies, it took Luke Skywalker 3 movies before he could defeat.
Okay, so, well, I mean, okay, it's a different story, so they're telling a different story.
So she can just do it because she's inherently more powerful? That's bullshit. That's the point.
Why? Because she's more powerful than Luke. That's what the problem is. Like
Luke Skywalker was born.
No, but I'm trying to look, Philetus, I'm not trying to get at you. I'm just trying to understand the point here. So you're saying that is it that you don't like that it's disrespectful to Luke that she's
Vader.
more powerful?
No, she's more powerful than Vader and Palpatine.
It's disrespectful to Vader and Palpatine.
Nerdman, once you watch the 3rd movie, Rise of Skywalker, you will look back and Darth Vader's story is literally ruined. It's made moot. It's like it didn't even exist. He did nothing.
Can I just say one thing, Pickle?
They gave it all to Rey.
It's not that just
Yellow, you son of a...
Everything that happens in this new trilogy, it totally ruins Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader's characters. But the point I'm trying to make to you, Nerdman, is that to accept that she's that powerful, the only explanation for why she could do it, whether it's a training montage or whatever, I have to suspend my disbelief and say, well, I just assume that she's more powerful than Darth Vader, Palpatine, and Luke Skywalker, the 3 greatest Jedi the universe has ever seen.
I've got to ask a question, an obvious one. Why can't she be?
She can be. It's the point that it doesn't even try to do it in a nuanced way, which makes
I'm saying
I'll explain it in a second.
They give her the training. It doesn't matter if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. They give her the training, right? Well, it should. I mean, the whole thing about this is that she didn't train. She didn't earn it. If she earns it in in a training montage, she earns it. You see that she's this powerful. You see that she's got the Force. She's got more metachlorians than most.
No, they don't say the word. They don't talk about metachlorians.
Okay, all right, whatever it is. That she's able because of her lineage or whatever, that they explain it, right? They explained everything and gave her a training montage. Would it then be okay for her to be more powerful than all of these characters?
You asked me if she could be why couldn't she be more powerful than them? My answer is she can. It just has to be done in an organic way. It does matter that it's a 5-minute training montage or a trilogy that builds up to a crescendo. That fucking matters. That's why Luke Skywalker works.
So were there I just want to be, because I don't know about this. Were there as many
Sure.
complaints about Anakin being so powerful immediately?
Yes, people hated it. People
I don't
hated
know.
that. They
I
compared
was
it
like
to.
6 when it came out.
They were mad about George Lucas's obsession with the Bible metaphors of like he was like Jesus and Darth Vader was Satan and Luke Skywalker was like they were the angels, good versus evil. And now that
Well, no. Let's be very specific. What we're talking about. Were they upset? They could have been upset with the quality of the movies and maybe the themes.
they were
of the
upset with
movies.
his power level.
But were they upset with specifically his power level to the point
I
that
don't
they
think it was as
hated
bad.
it? Would they have done YouTube video after YouTube videos on like or articles after articles about how this kid was, that he didn't earn anything, and
I think
like
so.
obviously what I see from the periphery. I haven't really gone into it that much, but I'm just
I
seeing
think
it from
if,
the periphery.
I
Would
think
they
if
have
the
done that?
I think if the internet existed, then you would have had videos like what Pickle was talking about, saying, "Why is this fucking 7-year-old flying a jet? Like because of the Force? Like this is ridiculous." Like,
But Family, this more people would have accepted it because it was Darth Vader, so they didn't really care. I can admit that. Like it wouldn't have
Okay.
been as hard as
Alright.
because people are hating
okay,
on
but
Rey,
it's not
like,
a
more
male
than
female.
any
It's not
character.
a male
but, dude,
female thing. What that they would have accepted because it
people-
was a male and she's a female, and they won't.
I will
That's
say,
not what it
people
is.
hate on Rey more than I've seen any character hated in any movie ever. I don't know if that's warranted. I don't think Rey's terrible. She's a serviceable main character. She's just boring. Like,
Dude.
but Nerdman, I have to spoil something in the third movie, or I can't
Okay, that's
eloquently
fine, that's
explain. I'm not gonna say what happens or what it. She uses. She deflects Force Sith lightning with a lightsaber, which is something that if you look into the lore, Yoda and Mace Windu have a hard time doing. It takes a absolute master to do it. She does it with ease. She also has a Force healing power in the third movie that's never explained. It never shows her practicing this. She just does it. And also she can shoot Force lightning just because of her lineage. No training, nothing. She can shoot Force lightning. She can deflect lightning, and she can heal people's wounds from death. No training. There's one montage where she's floating and she's fighting the ball just like Luke did, and she's like jumping around.
Can I make one more point?
No training whatsoever, and she can force heal people.
But then
She's
we have to
literally
move on
they literally
after
make
this
her
point.
Jesus. She can heal people from death. No training. It's just
Okay.
because of who her lineage is, which I won't tell you.
I just want to throw one more thing at Nerdman, and why I know it's a feminist thing with the Star Wars stuff, which
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with feminism, by the way, as long as you do it in a nuanced manner. I'm fine with it. I like strong female characters. Jean Grey's.
But what is the nuanced manner? You say this a lot, but look, we'll come back to that. But like,
Right, we'll come back to that. But the point I wanted to make is that Leia is an incredibly powerful character, and it's hinted at that if she had tapped into the Force, that she could have learned a lot of stuff and had some powers too, right? But she just never. That wasn't her like arc. She was like more of a political figure and a leader.
but people love Leia.
Right, they do
People
love Leia.
Again,
Right,
it's kind of like the Sarah Connor thing, because
But I'm
it's
about
like,
to make a point about it. About the new movie.
we like Leia because she's not, again.
Urban, listen.
It's almost like
let me
she's
finish
in a
this.
place, right? Like
Let me
she's
finish
like.
this. No, hold on a
Okay,
second.
go on.
It was always hinted at that she could be very powerful if she tapped into the Force. Instead of showing that like, oh, she tapped into the Force a little bit and like she did something, in the new movies she gets shot out of a ship that explodes.
Yeah, I know. I've seen this.
And she floats in a forced cocoon made of psionic force energy like Mary Poppins back into it.
Right,
That's
right,
why.
right.
That's why it's bullshit. Is what I'm saying.
It's
I would have
wild.
been.
It's wild.
It's
I know.
way too much. It's way too much.
Yeah, it seems like more like that's just a ridiculous in and of itself. But
Right. If you want to say that it's not about
what I
female or
was
male,
saying
it's
is
just ridiculous.
that,
That's fine.
no. I meant the scene is ridiculous.
Oh, she
like,
also
but-
no wait
Oh,
man,
no,
I'm-
right,
just
that's
one
what-
sentence,
oh,
one
wait,
sentence,
wait.
Nerd Man. There's also a flashback where
talking, right, go on.
she defeats. I'm saying we got to pile this on top of you. Then you can, like you like to say, unpack it all. In a flashback, she defeats Luke in a lightsaber battle where she's not even a lightsaber wielder. So yes, they like overcompensated with her being a badass in the sequel. I
Right,
like Leia.
okay. I want to go on to something else because obviously I don't know this so well. But I will say that, again, the fact that you brought Leia in is interesting because, again, it just seems to me that the examples that a lot of people tend to go to, Sarah Connor, Leia, it always seems to be, to me, that they're not actually strong female characters to contrast this to. So what it seems is that we are okay,
What about Jean Grey?
as consumers of. What do you mean? What about Jean Grey?
I love Jean Grey, and she can tear the fabric of the universe apart. Or Scarlet Witch.
I don't think that many people rep for Jean Grey. No, people
I
don't
do.
go. People don't argue. Oh, that's a well-established, strong female character when they're
Scarlet
arguing
Witch?
it. Wait a second. When they're arguing against characters like Captain Marvel, usually they go to like Sarah Connor. You might find a Scarlet Witch, but I don't think they tend to do that either.
But no one
because I don't think
calls the Scarlet
has been-
Witch and Mary Sue, though.
No one does call Scarlet Witch and Mary Sue, but like I think it's because these women are put forward as like the center of the movie. They're propped up like to be the center of the movie,
Or maybe her
like
powers
the
just
center.
make more sense.
Wait, or like Captain Marvel. You know, obviously, it's like, oh, we're gonna make her the leader of the Avengers. There was like rumors around that she was gonna kill Thanos, and so people got very, very upset with that. And then the Mary Sue thing became attached to her. But yes, you know, in general, from what I've heard about Rey specifically, I think there's real problems with the character. So I kind of agree with you there. I need to watch the films, but I've heard some things and seen some things that kind of make sense to me that the character just doesn't seem realistically in line with what we've seen with other Jedi. But I wanted to go on to the male characters, right? And why we don't see the same level of, I suppose, just criticism, I guess, when it comes to male characters who are dazzlingly OP within their universes. They're doing things that, from the limitations of what they are established to be as or of what their abilities ought to be, are doing things way, way beyond what, you know, they may have trained, or they may have had some moment that you could briefly say they earned their powers, right? You remember we talked about, like, if Rey had like a 5-minute montage, would that be enough to be able to justify her abilities, right? Like being so powerful. So let's go to Iron Man, right? We establish Iron Man is a genius, billionaire industrialist who can build like a pretty fucking OP metal suit. It's pretty, or not, it's a pretty good metal suit, but we know that, you know, or a power suit, like that can do a number of different things. We know that, you know, he can even have a little bit of a scuffle with Thor, but ultimately he is far less powerful than characters like Thor and Hulk. Eventually, you know, he beats Hulk, right, in the second movie. He then goes on, right, after Age of Ultron, creates you know, a godlike being, godlike AI being who's practically Superman. He then goes on to create time travel in just an afternoon. He creates a gauntlet with nanotechnology that can only be created from the technology that can only be built or molded from metals that can only be burnt from the heart of a dying sun. He snaps the gauntlet when Hulk struggles to snap the gauntlet. He is OP as all fucking hell, and he's been OP since Age of Ultron. But we completely and utterly accept this character as, I mean, it's unfathomable how OP he is. And what did he have as a training montage? He had, like, you know, a little training montage in the first movie. What did it last? All of 10 minutes. Built his in the cave. All of what, 3 minutes? That is it. After that, it's established that Iron Man, all through these movies, can do shit that really given the limitations of what he's supposed to be as a scientist and as a man, he should not be able to do. I think he's a very, very good example of a Gary Stu who gets away with these things. And it's simply because we don't notice it when it's a man.
No,
We just
Oh
don't
my
notice it
God.
when it's a man.
but
I
We don't
can't
bother to
believe
say
you finished.
anything.
I was with you for a second. I can't believe you finished with there.
No, I think that's true. I honestly do.
so let me agree with you before I disagree.
Okay,
I
go
agree.
on.
There are a lot of male characters where we like. I don't like to use the term Mary Sue. Like I'll use it for Ray because I've been convinced. But I don't say that every woman character is powerful as a Mary Sue. That whatever. But if we are going to do that, we need to be fair and play both sides. Anakin's a Gary
Okay.
Stu. There are tons of action heroes. Fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger from fucking Predator, you could say, is a Gary Stu. He just does everything because he's buff and badass. Just accept it.
Yeah.
Like you could say that, and I do think that women get it unfairly, like Mary Sue. Like
Oh, right.
I do agree.
They do.
But dude, Tony Stark not only was based off of a pulpy comic book, he was an established character where you could.
and
No,
Star Wars
don't
isn't. Okay.
even
All right,
stop
go
it.
on. Go on.
She was never a character. Tony Stark
Okay,
was a
go on,
pulpy
alright,
comic.
he's
That's just my
based off
first.
a
That's my
pulpy
first
comic.
argument. I'm just trying
Okay.
to because I kind of agree with you. I'm trying to reason why he wouldn't be one. Play both sides. He's so it's believable that he's in this wacky universe. Plus, the difference is in Iron Man 1, there's a montage of all of his achievements of going to fucking going to college
Okay.
when he was 12, all of his achievements. You see him. There are four or five different montages of him creating things using MCU jargon, even if it's kind of stupid, but he's talking about it. You see him inventing. But yes, it's still just he's a genius, accept it. He jumps the
Yeah.
shark in Endgame, but literally Rey, when she does something, she literally goes, I don't know how I did it. Like at least
Forget
they can
Ray.
tell us he's a
Let's
he's a
talk
genius.
about forget Ray because I don't know Ray.
All right, who else?
Let's talk about Captain Marvel.
So Captain
Why
Marvel.
is Captain Marvel singled out in the MCU universe as an overpowered character, given that her abilities, right, completely like her abilities and what she's done in the films completely align together in comparison with Iron Man,
Oh,
who's
it's easy.
or even Captain America, to be fair.
Easy. Oh, easy. Both are
Whose
easy.
abilities have not aligned with what he's actually done in the movies.
It's and Film Elitist, I'll let you go. I'll answer it simply. Because they earned their powers either through their personality or their intellect. She was just so happened to be there when an explosion happened, and it turned her into the most powerful character in the MCU. Simple.
So say
She didn't-
say,
she
say
didn't
again,
earn-
say-
Captain America earned his powers through the person that he was, his personality, and being a good man. Iron Man did it. He inherited the intelligence and created his powers.
Hold on.
She-
I gotta say
She
something.
was there.
right.
She was just standing there when an explosion happened, and it made her
I
the
have
most
to say
powerful
something.
character in the MCU. I think
It
that's. I don't say she's
Okay.
Mary Sue.
I just
But
want
I
to
don't think
reword your argument.
But be quick so that I can respond
Yeah.
to that.
I just
That's
want to
interesting.
reword his. I want to reword his argument. 'Cause
I'm
I
just
don't-
making it simple.
I don't think he's saying that they earned their powers because of who they were. He's saying that the writers took the time to root their powers into who they were in the sense that they went on an arc. It wasn't just about them gaining powers. It was about who they were as people and how they transformed because of it. And we did not get to see that with Captain Marvel. So we don't give a shit about it.
It's as simple as Captain America was such a good person.
I understand
little
what you're
man.
saying,
He
but
was
that's
literally
not why
chosen.
he has powers.
But no, he has powers because he was such a good person that he
But
was chosen.
ultimately
the
he has
thing.
powers because he got a serum.
Tony, but no, why did he get the chance at the serum?
It doesn't
Because
matter. The
he's such a
serum
good
gave
man.
him the powers.
But why did he get to that point?
I
Other-
get what
But
you're
that
saying.
doesn't. That doesn't-
Jimbo
that-
Smith
look,
wasn't
look,
picked
look,
because he's not a
look,
good guy.
look,
Captain
but that
Marvel
doesn't- look,
is a cardboard character, and she stands by an explosion. That's why people say it.
okay, then she's a bad character. It's nothing to do
Yeah.
with her.
I don't think
her
she's a Mary
woman
Sue.
or
I don't
being
think
a
she is.
Mary Sue or anything like that.
I don't think
But
she
that's
is.
what I'm saying. So the focus on her being so overpowered is mainly stems from the fact that she is a woman, and it's an unfair criticism towards women. right?
Can I just say no? Hold on.
It's
I
an
need to say
unfair criticism towards female characters.
I've been
Because
sitting
when
back on
you
this one. I'm gonna
translate, when you
respond.
wait, let me just say this to Pickle.
Okay.
Because when you translate the exact things that you're saying, right, it's what it boils down to. The only legitimate criticism you could really have about it in terms of a film character is that the abilities that they manifest, right, do not account for the actions that they do. Captain Marvel, the abilities that she has can account for every single thing she has done, whether she earned them or not, whether she gained them like Thor and was born with them, or she was a fighter pilot who accidentally came upon them, but she was a heroic person who was in the army and therefore, you know, an accident happened, or Spider-Man. Spider-Man doesn't exactly earn his powers. I mean, a spider just falls on him one day, right? Yeah, and he gains his powers not because he was a good person or anything. So superheroes get powers in many different ways, right? So the only thing that you can argue is about whether what she has done is consistent with the power level that has been set up, or whether they are just doing it to make a powerful woman, right?
Oh, no, but also Nerdman and then Film Elitist. Because we have to wrap this up pretty soon so we can do the other one. This will be my last argument, and then
but let's hear Film Elitist first, and then I was just about to say that what Iron Man has done is clearly is not in line with what his abilities, you know.
Well, I have a question for you and Film Elitist. Film Elitist, if you will allow me.
Jesus Christ, go! Yes, please.
Sorry, I didn't finish.
Film Elitist, I love you,
man.
Film Elitist, you stop it. It's all about. I don't care about. Yeah. If God created a tree, you can say he did it because he's powerful. But a Mary Sue, the argument is that Mary Sues don't get challenged and they don't lose anything. They're never challenged. They're always winning, and there's no reason for it. Captain Marvel, she basically has no challenges, no flaws. And the worst thing that happens to her in her movie is she gets like chained up for like 5 minutes and then she breaks out. Captain America loses stuff. Iron Man loses stuff. He loses his privacy, his business. He loses people. Cap loses people. He has to sacrifice himself and get fucking get into the fucking ice. He loses his whole life. Like even Thor loses things. His family
makes him a more interesting character.
I'm saying Mary Sue's don't. People say that Mary Sue's. I'm trying to say people say that Mary Sue's don't lose anything. Like what challenged Captain Marvel?
She's had one movie. She's had 1 movie and a half to be like, we don't know what's going to challenge her yet. The next thing
in their first movies, they were challenged.
She does lose.
It's nothing to do with her being a woman.
Thanos punches her, right?
She got punched one time.
No. I'm saying she loses physically. She's lost a battle, like physically losing a battle. So she's not so OP that she can just take out anything.
She doesn't
he knocks her off screen. We don't get to see the ramifications of it.
But anyway, let's go aside from that. Just to get back, let me hear what Film Elitist had to say first, and then because I just want to get back to what Iron Man specifically does. Because I think you're deflecting from the actual criticism of the character that
I'm gonna go straight into that.
Yeah, go on.
Because I think Iron Man, up until like Age of Ultron, it made sense. But after that, I agree with you that it stopped making sense comparative to who he was as a character.
Right.
Okay. And it's the same thing in Dragon Ball Z with Goku. When he does Kaioken, when he goes Super Saiyan for the first time, it's all earned. Like it makes sense, and it's structured in a way that you believe why it's happening. And then it gets to a point where every time a new bad guy comes along, he can just go into the next Super Saiyan to beat him. It's always a power level higher, and it's not like an earned thing. I think that Captain Marvel's powers make sense based on the fact that the stone shot her full of Infinity Stone power. But it's about how those powers and that story gets told is how the audience responds. Yeah. Now, maybe it's not a Mary Sue argument, but the thing I was saying earlier about the nuance of it mattering to people and why it pisses them off so much is because one, you need that nuance. And I criticize Iron Man learning time travel in a night. If that had happened in the beginning of his first movie, he figured out how to go back in time in a night, people would have hated that movie. Okay? And then if on top of that, it was preaching a message of some kind of like right-wing bullshit, people would have double hated it. So Captain Marvel not only is lazy and bad writing, but it preaches feminism on top of it. Boom, gotcha.
Wait. Okay, so again, I have to, say this because this is absolutely true. In Iron Man 1, during the height of the Iraq War and the conflicts that were going on during that period, Iron Man goes and he kills a bunch of Arab terrorists. So it was preaching in many ways. Who he sold weapons to doesn't matter. It was preaching in many ways a political kind of stance. So again, the political stance in Captain Marvel was like some feminist stance or whatever. The political stance in that was specifically, given the context of the time that it was actually made, that Iron Man is going like it was an American exceptionalist argument that was being made with that movie.
When it showed that he sold those terrorists those weapons, that's criticizing the war because that's what America was doing. That's what Dick Cheney and those guys were doing. That's criticizing Bush, not supporting it.
Yes, but it's criticizing it to a limited degree. It's criticizing it to say, okay, yeah, we sold them the weapons, but the way to actually deal with selling them the weapons is blow the shit out of them, right? That's okay, yeah, we did sell them the weapons, we get it, but now they're there and they've got these weapons.
They were trying to kill children.
Let's just go over and drone and like bomb the shit out of them. Doesn't matter, but like
it matters that they were trying to kill children.
In context. You can say that matters, but that's just something that the writers wrote, right? It's like they wrote them that they're killing children, right? And I'm not saying that's not what was happening in Iraq or whatever, but that is not the reason America was going in to bomb Iraq. It wasn't because like these guys were killing children. They were doing it for a
Did Iron Man represent all Americans?
Iron Man wasn't invading Iraq.
Pickle, because I've always said this. I like that point in the movie. I have no problem with Iron Man. I have no problem with Iron Man doing that. I have no problem with anyone having any political perspective as long as it's written well and, even if it's a political perspective that isn't my own, right, that I don't support. I have no problem with them showing that. But to say that it was devoid of any kind of political context, yeah, they gave a reason for America to go in and bomb the bad guys and blow up everyone.
Oh
my
God!
But they gave some kind of reason. They were hurting
Philomelitis, I gotta go next.
But that is not, that is again, that's kind of like how would you say, like a propaganda.
So there's never a justification.
Wait, Philomelitis. Of course,
you've had your time, nerd man.
When any kind of country or whatever is invading or killing another country, all of their propaganda is going to show how monstrous the other side is, right? They're all going to show like. Why are we saying, oh my God?
Nerd man.
Because there are real extremist groups that live in the Middle East. And even though I don't agree with the Iraq war and it was a bunch of bullshit and it was not something we probably needed to get into, there are terrorist groups that are inhumane and that they are subjugating people. And Iron Man was only attacking a group that represented that. He was not attacking the country of Iraq. It's bullshit what you're saying.
And Nerdman, he wasn't representing all of America. You keep saying it was an excuse for America to get. He wasn't representing all of America. He was one man who did a wrong thing, was righting his wrongs. Captain Marvel literally represents all women in her movie. That's the point Philomelitis is making. He wasn't going in saying, this is America. You've been bombing America. We're going to kick your ass. She says, You have been not believing in me my whole life because I'm a woman. We're gonna have Gwen Stefani's "I'm Just a Girl" playing as I kick all the men's asses.
Tony
She
literally
represented all the.
Yeah, we're gonna have like,
But
you
Tony
know,
literally represented
Iron Maiden.
There
We're
was
gonna have
under-
Iron Maiden go in as Tony flies
There were
in. What
undertones.
might as well be a jet. And
Undertones, nerd man. Undertones
Okay.
and throwing it in your face is different. Yes, there
Okay,
were
good.
undertones of
There
politics.
was different level. There were different levels of subtlety.
But you
I
keep
get
saying
it. But
America went in and blew them up. He didn't
I think
represent America.
I think we're going.
What he did was illegal, actually.
What we're doing is actually straying away from the point because it's not really the point I'm trying to make. It's just because Film Elite has mentioned that there was a political messaging, and that was part of the reason that people went again. Like there was how did you put it? You said that there was a that they were banging this political message over our head with no nuance. And I do think when you look at the context of what was happening in the world at that time, I don't know, Pickle, you might have been a bit younger or whatever, but I know what was happening, the news and everything about like it's anti-American to not support like blowing up the Arabs and there was all these kind of characterizations of Arabs that were going around as they are just monsters, bad guys. This is why it doesn't matter that we're blowing them up. Doing that where they were.
I can't let this stand.
Wait a second. It is a typical propaganda move. I'm not saying they did it against the Nazis. They did it against the Japanese. They did it against. It's a typical propaganda. The communists did it against, the capitalists. It is a typical propaganda move of how to depict people so that, because people don't like blowing up people for no reason. They're not comfortable with that. They need those people to be evil, to represent a monstrosity that they can be all right, that it will sit well with their conscience for them to be doing these acts. So that's why they depict them in this certain way. And, ultimately, I don't think the Iron Man is the worst example of that. I don't think it's even a particularly bad example of that. I like the movie. So that's not what I'm arguing. I'm just saying that this one thing is political and it was banging you over the head with a message. That is what turned people off. Captain Marvel versus Iron Man. I don't think that's necessarily true.
You're just
specific. I think it's the
convoluting it. Just straight up. You are because you're talking about painting Arabs as savages and shit like that, which I agree that was done. There was a lot of propaganda on the news from both sides. But in Iron Man, he literally represents the military-industrial complex. He literally represents the things that we were doing, our interventionalist policies that destabilized the Middle East in the first place. He literally represents that, and then he turns away from that to become a guy that uses his weapons for good. And that once was... Hold on, I'm not finished. You got to talk. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Sid, the guy in the cave with him, is a fucking world-renowned scientist who they show how intelligent and civilized and beautiful as a man he is. And he comes from the exact same place in that region of the Middle East that those insurgents that Tony blows up are. So what you're saying is just straight bullshit.
Okay, but guess what? In real life, that beautiful physicist that you were talking about was one of the 500,000 people who was probably blown up when America was like landing bombs on Iraq without
that's a different argument, man.
Right? So when Iron Man is depicting it as if it's like this targeted thing where you're just getting the bad guys. That is an unrealistic depiction of what is happening. What's really happening is all the kids are dying, that scientist is dying, civilians are fucking being killed. That's not, when you see that Iron Man film, it makes it like, look, again, I don't want to get into this. This is not my main argument here, but again, when you look at what Iron Man is actually doing as a propaganda piece, you're wrong.
He sold them weapons, and those kids got killed because of it. It's literally showing everything he said didn't show. You're not making any sense.
No, I'm making complete sense, dude. again, this is straying away from the
Innocent
argument. I'm going
children,
to say that.
scientists, villagers got blown up because Iron Man
Yes.
America sold them weapons. You
Okay.
just said that. You
And
just said
then
in real
he
life.
says,
that's
and
what
then
would
he
happen.
says, and then he says the solution to that, right? The solution to that is me, Iron Man, going in and blowing up those people, which is a mirroring effect, and it kind of
Sometimes that is the only solution.
sometimes it is. I agree with you. I'm not denying that, but that is a mirroring effect, which kind of it kind of not belittles, but like it makes it softens the image of of the terror and horror that is actually happening in these in any kind of invasion, not just American invasions, but specifically in an American invasion where you've got a highly technologically advanced, military industrial complex blowing up a country and blowing up hundreds of thousands of people. It softens that. It makes, look, again, that is just part of what the film is showing, and I agree with you. There's a little bit more nuance to it
No,
than what I'm saying.
That's all the point is.
But
Even if we disagree
at
on
the same time, at the same time, his solution is basically, I've done this terrible thing. It's my fault that they've got these weapons in the first place, and I'm going to go in and blow the shit out of them. That is basically, the response.
I get what you're saying.
That mirrors what the American kind of, thing was. But anyway, that's besides the point. The point is that from then on, Iron Man becomes, just from what we know of what he is able to do, right? What he should be capable of doing. He goes from beating up the Hulk, where you're like, okay, he's in a Hulkbuster suit. I kind of get that. But then when it gets to the point of him snapping just like that, right? Like much easier than even the Hulk did. If you talk about his capabilities versus what he is actually doing, it outmeasures anything Captain Marvel has done, right? In these two movies, like when you compare what her baseline abilities are to what she's actually doing in the scene. Can we agree on that?
We agree on the power level thing.
In one movie,
where I disagree with you, and where I think why people are forgiving, not me, but a lot of people, is because Iron Man was written for so long in a way that people thought, okay, I care about this person. No one cares about Captain Marvel because the writing sucks and it's political on top of it. It's a double whammy is what I'm saying. That's all.
Okay, go on, Pickle.
And the message of Iron Man wasn't, like, the whole message of the movie wasn't just in your face of anti-brown people, let's go blow up terrorists.
Oh no, I don't believe that.
I'm saying, like, there were undertones, you're right, and it was a little tone deaf to just say anybody can cross borders and blow up whoever they want, even if they're terrorists, which we can all get behind, going and destroying ISIS. I think most people can get behind that.
Right.
The whole point of Captain Marvel was, I've been kicked my whole life because I'm a woman. Now I'm powerful. My woman emotions actually make me stronger. I'm just a girl who's going to play as I destroy aliens from a power I didn't earn. That's what the whole point is. I don't think she's a Mary Sue. But to say that, to conflate Iron Man as this Gary Stu, yes, Endgame was ridiculously stupid that he invented time travel in one fucking night and that he did the snap. But you can give him grace because he had so many movies where it's believable. You're skipping over the part where his suit was killing him. Once again, his own invention was killing him with an infection. He had to invent a new okay, it's kind of stupid. He had to invent a new element to save himself as he was going through fatherly issues. It wasn't just men are mean to me, I'm going to blow them up. Like, he earned and went through so many things and lost so many people and his business and his image over and over that
at the end of the day,
once you get to the movie where it's stupid, you can forgive it.
The power levels don't matter about the power levels being. I don't like it
if Iron Man was the only male character that this happened with, then it would be fine. I'd be like, okay, well, when you look at it, he has had time for people to emotionally invest in him, and that's the reason. But there are various male characters who are super OP. And I don't think because they had a training montage that should differ them so vastly from some of these females. Like you said, you even brought up Arya Stark. I mean, Arya Stark in comparison to Iron Man or Neo from the Matrix, or even Thor, like to a certain degree, is not, it's not even comparable. Like, it's completely consistent with her character and training, what she did in comparison.
Do Neo and Iron Man, even though they're OP, does it service the story, their power level ultimately in the end?
Well, in Neo's case, really not, because by Matrix Revolutions, it was
but most of the time,
ridiculous.
these OP characters like Goku and Iron Man, whatever, they service the story ultimately, and that's why people forgive it. It's not about them being men; it's about how they approach it. Because at the end of the day, I think that there's been some OP'd women that, as long as it services the story, people forgive it. Scarlet Witch is OP, but nobody questions it because it services the story. It's written well.
Well, I don't think anyone questions it because she isn't like necessarily ever caught in the mix of things where she's like the main person defeating the bad guy.
She was about to kill Thanos. Nobody criticized
Thanos. That is the one time that she like she let loose.
Does anybody criticize that?
Even the sniff?
No, we believed it.
I'm not. No. I think that, and I, again, because I don't think, and I think actually people got quite excited about her character after that.
Yeah.
And then WandaVision kind of like muddied the waters a little bit. But again, I think because she doesn't get in the way of the male action or the males doing whatever, she's less noticeable. And then when she did that, it was kind of just cool, right? It was like, oh, that's a cool moment for her. But in the end, it came down to the man being the one who defeats,
if Scarlet Witch had killed Thanos, I don't think anybody would have questioned it the same way they would have if Captain Marvel did it. That's the point.
If Scarlet Witch, that's an interesting question. I'd be curious. I agree with you that they probably wouldn't. But at the same time, I could see the thing is that I find like all of these arguments start off with like some kind of rational point, like the Mary Sue argument. But then when I see kind of inconsistencies or hypocrisies in it, specifically like with someone like Iron Man in comparison to Captain Marvel, that's when I start to get like iffy about what is going on. Why is it that we always are singling out these female characters, right? Like to complain about. This happened with Arya Stark, who I do not believe was ever some kind of feminist propaganda. I don't think she was ever like, spouting off kind of feminist rhetoric or anything like that. But I think
she was a fan favorite and they pandered. That's more what it was.
Whatever, but she got a lot of attention from that kind of community. I don't even think Rey does a lot of feminist kind of propaganda that she's spouting or anything like that. She gets a lot of attention because she's a very powerful character, right? So again, it's just about that consistency. If there's a consistency between OP male characters, which there are a lot of, who do ridiculous things, and people pay the same regard and attention to those characters rather than just being like, oh, it's okay somehow. I don't know what their reasoning is for it, but it seems to be just like something that doesn't get a lot of attention or a lot of people talking about it too much, right? If they got that same attention, or they got, or the focus was put on them when it happens with them, then I would be like perfectly fine with the Mary Sue argument. But it seems to be the problem is that there's an imposition of this idea that they're trying to preach to us through all of these characters that are Mary Sue's.
Or
that is why we target those specific characters as opposed to actually them being inconsistent in their power levels.
Or as we just established, when it's Scarlet Witch or Jean Grey or many other female characters, and it's written well, nobody criticizes it. But when it's a female character that's not written well and we criticize it, the backlash is immediately the opposite argument that, well, you're criticizing it because it's a woman, and that's bullshit. Bad writing is bad writing, and that's what this comes down to.
Well, I again, this is where I agree with you. I would just put it down to bad writing, Like the character just isn't a compelling character. For me, Captain Marvel just isn't a compelling character. But there's a lot of characters that, as you know, I don't believe are so compelling characters in the MCU. But that, for me, is a much more just reasonable. Like, she's just not a compelling character. She doesn't seem like she's earned her powers.
Can I just ask you one more thing quickly, Nerdman?
Go on.
And I don't like using the word Mary Sue either. But the definition that the people that created that word said is that it's a flawless character, right? So maybe not Arya Stark.
She's not flawless.
Well, hold on a second. Hold on a second. I think that in the case of Iron Man or Captain America compared to Rey and Captain Marvel, I could see why people would say that, because they never lose anyone. They don't lose anything. They're not flawed at all. They're literally perfect. They cannot be defeated.
So basically, let's just
They cannot be humbled.
Let's just get this straight. So Captain Marvel and Rey are the only examples of Mary Sue's in film like history, or who else is there?
I mean,
that meets that.
You could probably
criteria.
think of a few. I mean,
I'm saying those
honestly,
are the two that are really egregious.
dude, film elitist. I think that if anything, Daenerys is more of a Mary Sue than fucking Arya. Like, if you want to go there, let's not go there. We don't have enough time.
Let's not go. We don't have time because that will tick me off. So let's not go there.
Oh, let's do it. No,
Rey and Captain Marvel.
Ray and Captain Marvel are the only examples. So if they are the only examples of Mary Sue, why is there such a big hang up about it? As if like that Mary Sue's are taking over film, and like they're just like constantly trying to force this agenda down our throats.
Well, it's the world's two biggest franchises, to be fair, Nerdman. Star Wars and then.
I was going to say, like,
characters, but you've got several females who aren't Mary Sue's, right? Like, according to you. So even Black Widow, all of those. Why can't you? So there's one Mary Sue. There's one really powerful female character who isn't that interesting. There's lots of not uninteresting characters in the MCU anyway, right? Like there's Ant-Man.
Well, that's like saying why are
they picking?
Wait. It's like why did Trump get so much crap? It's just one guy being a douche. He was in the spotlight. Rey ruined people in their minds. She ruined the biggest movie franchise of all time, other than the MCU.
Right.
So they're gonna focus on.
It was already ruined. It was already ruined from the
Scarlet Witch and Black Widow.
You made it worse.
Scarlet Witch and Black Widow aren't being courted to lead the Avengers. It's the worst female character they have, and they're saying this is the person that's going to lead the Avengers, and this is the way we're going to write her, because this is the direction we're heading, and it's lazy and unnuanced and bullshit.
But you know the film was being attacked before it even came out. But anyway, we do need to leave like this. But this is really interesting. We should come back to discuss Mary Sue's again.
Well, Nerdman,
and have one more thing. Yeah, come.
One sentence. If Brienne of Tarth would have been the one to kill the Night King, I would have been completely fine with it.
I think a lot of people would.
That's the difference. That's the.
I don't see any. I think Arya Stark was a better character than
but it made less sense for her to kill him.
It was a funner character, and no, it didn't, because Arya Stark was one of the Stark clan. She was one of the three Starks. The whole story revolved around them and their journey. She was a big character, Brienne of Tarth, and I liked her, and what she did by the end, I thought was perfectly fine.
A couple shots of her fighting some White Walkers and then being at the end table.
With the Nightwalkers, but she also became a knight, which she always wanted to be.
That was her best moment. They were building her up.
And then she lost
nothing.
She lost the love, But it's more
they turned her into I want to fuck Jamie, and if I can't fuck him, I'm gonna cry. Like, dude, they shit on her.
I just want to say this conversation.
This is a whole different debate.
Yeah. That's my last argument.
This one almost killed me.
It's about good writing.
Nerdman, I've never gotten this heated at you before. This almost killed me.
It was great. I love it, man. The thing again, I just love these discussions, like, honestly. So
yeah,
I think it's really interesting to bring out, like, what I want to know. What is a Mary Sue? I want to do another discussion. Just really on how many of them are there? What are they really that big a problem? As we make a list. Like in cinema and film and culture recently, are they taking over with their agendas with these Mary Sues? Because I don't know that one or two characters who maybe consistent with this definition counts for all of the attention it gets. Plus,
Yeah.
then with specifically with Captain Marvel, just the last point is she's just started. She's just had her first film and then been in Endgame. So for all we know, Rogue might steal her powers, and she's just completely weak in the second movie and has to, build herself up from that. Anyway, that's it. Thank you so much, Film Elites. Thank you so much, Alanton, Alex, for coming on as well.
Yes.
Please
Shout
subscribe to all of these guys, Philosophical Pickle, Film Elites, as well. We're now going over to Philosophical Pickle's channel, where we're going to discuss another hot take, and it's going to be Philosophical Pickle's hot take. But apart from that, give me a high five.
Come to my channel in about 20 minutes, 15 minutes. We're doing another one. It might not be this spicy, but once again, I will beat Nerdman. That's it. That's all I want to say. So come to my channel. Let's have some more fun.
Yeah. Give me a high five. Smash that like button and subscribe. Tell us what you thought about our debate in the comment section. I will answer, of course. And apart from that, I'll see you on the flip side. And I love you 3000. Peace. Oh yeah.
Thanks for commenting, guys. Yeah,
so
dude.
blasted. Thanks, man.
Thanks for
Peace.
commenting, guys.